I don't really know what's happening in the book. I like tunnel vision when I'm reading her writing. Vampires? We've only just begun, ladies and gents. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Emmy. Make sure you subscribe, especially if you like reading vlogs and 24-hour readathons or anything to do with books, because we do a lot of those here. I pretty much do a 24-hour readathon every other weekend at the moment, so you get these quite regularly on my channel. And today's no different. We are jumping back into another 24-hour readathon, and I'm doing this the same way that I do all my other readathons, where I'll set a timer for 24 hours, typically try to do it over a weekend, so 2 days. So the goal is 12 hours on one day, 12 hours on the other, but we only record active reading time, so I will pause it if I put the book down to feed or walk my dog, make food, take a shower, whatever that is. But we're basically seeing how many books we can read back to back in a 24-hour period. And I am an absolutely feral reader and I read a lot of books, but I do have a lot of books that I need to catch up because I'm actually quite behind on my reading goals for this month because I have been traveling and away with work. So we are playing a little bit of catch up right now. But anyways, let's jump in and pick the lineup for this video, what we actually gonna be reading. Now, lineup for the books. I feel like I've got a lot of Kindle reads that I actually want to read in this 24-hour readathon. I'm currently 50% of the way through the second book in the Bargainer series, and after that the third one is like a novella. It's very short, so I want to finish reading book 2, read book 3 because it's a novella. I don't know about book 4, we'll probably save that later, but there are a few books on my shelf that I want to read. So this is the lineup. Let's actually turn it around the other way so you can see. This is the lineup. Will I read all of these? No, I think we're going to be mood reading, especially because there are Kindle books that I do want to read. So these will be what I'm sort of choosing from, but if I feel like I'm in the mood for something else or I want to read a Kindle read, that will get prioritized instead. But firstly, Foxglove by Adeline Grace. Second book in the Belladonna series. But the first book was Belladonna. The second is Foxglove. The third has just been released. It's Wisteria, but I've been waiting for book 2 to come out in paperback so I can read it. So now that paperback is here, I can read it. Book 2 in Defy the Night. Oh wait, no, this is book 3, never mind. Second book in Defy the Night trilogy, we have Defend the Dawn. So this is the second book in the Defy the Night trilogy, as I just said. This also is quite short. It's around 400 and something pages, so should be able to breeze through that in around 4 hours. Then we have Vale of Dreams. This is book 2, again another series. Book 1 was Avalon Tower, and I really enjoyed that. Book 3, I don't know. I thought there was only going to be 2 books, but I think from what I've seen in other people's reviews, they've been quite like mixed, and there is going to be another book coming, so maybe we have potential to have a lot of like middle book syndrome books here. Then we have The Stars Are Dying. This is an epic dark romantasy. This is an arc. The official cover has just been released. I think this is what it's going to look like. I'm very, very excited to read this because Chloe is a Scottish author and I obviously live in Scotland. I'm very excited to read this. I think this is coming out later on this year, October 2024. Is it still currently available on Kindle? It was on Kindle Unlimited. And then finally we've got The Darkness Within Us. If you watched my 24 books I want to read in 2024, my like end of year TBR, this book is book 2 in a series, but Fairy Loot said you can read it on its own as like a standalone, but I do want to read book 1, so I was planning on getting book 1 on Kindle and reading that, and then reading book 2 because they both sound very interesting. So potentially I have to read book 1 in this video and then see if we can get around to book 2, but it also looks quite short and fun and easy to like binge. So we've got a lot of options. I typically read like 6 books or 7 books in these 24-hour readathons. If you are new here, hi, please subscribe. I swear my vibe is really fun and we like to read a lot of books, specifically fantasy and romantasy. So we're gonna try and read as many as we possibly can. I am playing catch up with my TBR for this month. Well, I've read pretty much most of my TBR books for the month, but I've put a pause on my TBR because I'm just not in the mood to read what's left. I feel like I've been slumping out. I've not been reading as much as I typically do, but these 24-hour reading challenges always sort of reset and kickstart my reading spiral. That is very much what I'm in the mood for and need right now. So let's start the reading. Now, before we can start the 24 hours of reading, we have to make a caffeinated drink because that's what's going to keep us going. And anytime I make my coffees or my matchas, I always get comments asking, how did I make that, or can I show the recipe? So I'm going to very quickly do that because it's very, very simple. It is not a complicated recipe, but the matcha that I use is Perfect Head matcha. And it literally has the instructions on the back. It says combine half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon with 60 mils of water. So I'll typically just do that much. Just chuck it in a bowl. And then 60 mils of water. I never measure out, but I do boil the kettle for it. I have also used the Bird and Blend matcha, and I do really like that. I just run out, but that one is a lot easier to blend. The Perfect Head one needs a bit more intense whisking, so I can't like cold whisk that or anything. So kettle goes on. I've just added some cinnamon in with my matcha and then added ice to my coconut milk. Sometimes I will just go in with like some vanilla flavoring or something, but I don't feel like I need it today. Like I'm not in the mood for something really sweet. I put that aside. I like to leave room at the top because I am going to make a cold foam today, because I've just figured out how to do it and I've perfected it. And then we add what apparently is like around 60 mils, and then I take my matcha whisk. This is essential, and I just whisk it until everything dissolves. And then what I do is I pour the matcha in. I've just rinsed out my bowl, but we're gonna make the cold foam in it. That's a good shade of green. Yeah, that looks about right. Now, for my cold foam, I just put in my milk. I drink coconut or almond milk, but I'll put a little splash of coconut milk in. And then I do like a small splash of Oatly Whippable Creamy Oat, which is like a dairy-free alternative. I do drink dairy, like I'm not opposed to it, I just really prefer coconut and almond milk. Like dairy kind of freaks me out, but like I will drink normal milk. So when I have a blank street in London, I just get that with normal milk because I hate oat milk. You won't catch me drinking oat milk. The Oatly Whippable Cream is fine, but I'll mix the two together, and then I've been going in with this raspberry sauce, and we just blend it until it starts to thicken and turns into like a cream, or you know, the right consistency for a cold foam. And again, I keep adding like the smallest amount of milk and cream, and it just like quadruples in size when you whisk it. So I still haven't figured out the perfect ratio, but any leftovers I just put in the fridge because I'll probably make a second matcha, and then I already have my cold foam ready. But like this Oatly Whippable Cream stuff is insane. Look at that. That is so good. And that is my matcha, cinnamon matcha with a raspberry cold foam. I love coffee, I love matcha, I love fun drinks. Like, it is one of my passions, which sounds ridiculous, but I have an entire coffee corner here with like different flavored syrups and stuff. Oh, I could make a matcha one with a blueberry cold foam. That would be good next. But I've got different like spiced pumpkin pie, matcha, chai, flavored syrups, you know, we've got white chocolate, mint, cinnamon, caramel. Anyways, getting so far off the point, we're going to take this matcha and we're going to go sit down and we're going to start reading. Cooper is obviously here and as needy as ever. Do you hear that? That's their tail banging off the couch. Yes, we know you love attention, don't you? Yes. You're the neediest girl ever, Coops. Anyways, I am going to put my headphones on because I feel like my brain is a little bit all over the place and I need concentration mode. And so many of you already know I listen to brown noise when I'm reading. So that is what we're doing. We're going to be listening to brown noise. Oh, that is so good. But it's time to start the 24-hour timer. Ready? Yeah, I read the first book in the Bargainer series back in like March, like a while ago, but it wasn't one that I was itching to pick up book 2. I didn't really like the way it ended and like the mystery and stuff, just that whole like secondary subplot. There was also a few things that I didn't like the age gap in it was, I just felt like it was unnecessary. And just like a few little details, but like I really enjoy the author's actual writing. So I think I gave it like a 3.5 star or something around that. But it's definitely not a book series for everyone. But I have gone down the rabbit hole of like dark romantasy and read a lot more intense books. So now this feels like absolutely nothing compared to that. And I was in the mood to sort of pick it up and read. And I think the fact that because I'm trying to, you know, not get into a reading slump, I'm picking up books that I am familiar with that don't require a lot of brain power, especially after finishing our book club book of the month, which was When the Moon Hatched. If you aren't in my book club, it's free to join, anyone can join, and hosted through the Fable app. A link to it is always down in the description. But everyone in my book club gets access to like an exclusive reading vlog. So if you like my reading vlogs and you want to see me read When the Moon Hatched, like a full reading vlog for that, make sure you join my book club because it's only available to book club members. But anyways, I needed something fast, short, fast paced, something I was comfortable with, didn't need to like use my brain for a lot of world building. So I was like, I feel like jumping back into the Bargainer series. And the author has some other books that I'm intrigued to read, and that I've seen creators like Jamie on TikTok, she's loving Laura Thalassa books right now. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it another shot. And I am glad that I have, but it's not like my favorite. It's nothing like wow. This I do feel like is I don't know. I actually don't know, I can't even think of a rating right now, but I am enjoying it, but it's definitely not for everyone. But it has been a fun time to read. But there's also some things that I hate about this book and about the main characters. Like, why is Des so secretive and closed off? Like, I don't want to say anything that will like spoil book one if you haven't read book one, but like, oh, I just hate how like secretive and sly he is. Even though he's like our main male character, I'm like, come on, I need you to open up a bit more about yourself. Like, I want to connect, I want to love you, Des, I want to believe in you as like a main male character, but like, you're not giving me enough. It's too mysterious, it's too morally grey, it's too suspicious. So that's how I'm feeling right now. It's kind of fun. It's very easy to read, very mindless, very respectable, very demure. Book one finished in 22, 23, 24. 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 38 seconds. Math is not my strong suit. I'm not bad at it, I'm just slow. We had like around just under 200 pages of that book to read because I was already 50% of the way through, so flew through that, and now I have just gone straight onto The Emperor of Evening Stars, which is a prequel novella that comes after book 2 in the Bargainer series, which is the book I just finished. I just had a Caesar salad and some fries while I was reading. So I'm finishing it off with like a crisp cold Diet Coke. That's my current hyperfixation at the meal. This is what it looks like. Obsessed. I've had it like 4 days this week already. This novella is 237 pages, and I honestly think that I will be finished this in the next like 2 hours or so. I'm just gonna sit and binge through it. Like with the last book I read, obviously I was already halfway through it and I wasn't really like stopping to talk about it because I don't want to give any spoilers and talk about like the plot and what was happening. I think I gave it the 3-star as well. The first book I gave 3 stars, so I'd say for me like the books are 3 stars. Like, it's not perfect. There's a lot of things that come up, like plot points or character developments or, you know, character quirks that I'm not like obsessed with, and I wish it was slightly different, but the overall writing of the story, something about the way that Laura writes just sucks me in. I had points where I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, I'll pause to take a break or get some food or something in like 10 minutes, and I just can't, and I look and I've read 100 pages. Like, I just spiral, like tunnel vision when I'm reading her writing. I don't know what it is, because the actual story itself is like interesting, but it's not like the best. I'm not like, oh, I need to find out what happens next, but I don't want to tear myself away from the page. I'm very glad that I decided to like pick this back up because it has been so easy to read, and at the same time I feel like I've been reading for 5 minutes. But yeah, it's a prequel novella, so we're gonna get more into Des's head and it's his backstory. So when I was saying like I want more info, I need to know more, I want to like him, I'm hoping that this comes from it. And then the last book is going to be the final book, so like the story will wrap up, but I might save that for when I'm feeling slumpy again. Maybe like I would like to read it this month, but maybe not in this 24-hour reading video. And we've got 22 hours and 45 minutes on the clock to go, so we've only just begun, ladies and gents, so let's continue. Wait, how long did that take? So that took me 1 hour, 37 minutes and 9 seconds to read book 2. It also said the last chapter would take 10 minutes to read, and it was 2 pages. So that was 224 pages read. I actually enjoyed that the most because we were getting like main chapters from book 1 and book 2, but also like prequel before with a bit of a backstory of stuff that was not in any of the other books from Des's perspective. So I feel like I like him more now, and like things actually make sense, like why he is the way he is, what he's been thinking that we don't see, and I love it even more. I just wish that we got that in the books themselves. I don't know what the final book is going to be like if we get more of Des, but that was so interesting. So there's 21 hours left on the clock. I don't know what I fancy picking up next. I honestly think I might read Vale of Dreams. I think this is going to be book 3. How many pages has this got? Yeah, 497 pages, but they're quite big, like printed quite large. So I feel like it won't take me too long to read, but it will mean that I can get through a book series, get up to date. Also, this is a new release. All right, let's read. Oh wait, there's a bonus chapter for ARC readers. I always feel so special when that happens. If you haven't read the first one, Avalon Tower is about a American human who goes to the south of France for her birthday. Because in this world, it's set in the real world, but hours after, years, like I think in the future, there was like a Fae war and Fae took over, and there's this magical veil that separates the Fae from the humans, and like this evil Fae king. And I think he like lives in France, but there's like no technology in this world, but it's like our world. She goes to France and somehow gets swept up in this Fae spy mission. So she's like, well, I'm gonna help them because I'm not a terrible human being. During the escape, she ends up running into her ex-love who broke her heart, who she hates now, and he hates her. He works for this spy academy, this MI13 or something. You got yourself involved in this mission, so now you need to come with us and you need to come and train at this Fae spy academy, because she actually has powers that she didn't know how to use or anything like that, and they're gonna train her to do that. So that's what happens in the first book. It sounds so like far-fetched and a little bit ridiculous, and it honestly is, but it's set between England and France. There is this evil prince who she keeps dreaming about, who's like mortal enemy. I have theories about how I think book 2 is gonna go, or like we had like a main romance plot in book 1, but I feel like could have been giving like a Dane situation, and we could have a love triangle come. So I don't know, I have no idea what this is about other than it's just a continuation on. I know you want attention, but can you let mommy finish speaking first? Headphones on, book 3, let's go. One thing about this book, also absolutely laughing at how Cooper's just sat there right now. Her tail is wagging because I'm speaking. This book series is very easy to read. Like the writing is quite casual. Like I don't think you need a lot of brain power to be able to read these. They're very, very easy to understand, not overly descriptive or anything either. And I just think that they're like the first book at least was like just like a silly fun time read. It was 4 stars for me. I do recommend book 1. I'm literally about to throw hands with this book. We're 90 pages in and like what the heck has happened? Like, I mean, I was like spot on, but like really? Are you serious? Why? Also, how cute is she being right now? You can't tell me this is the cutest thing that you've ever seen. Had a little bit of an intermission there. I went and put my pajamas on to get comfy. Also, I sound really sick now, and it's because I am. Like, I'm full of a cold. This is like the one downside of fall coming. The autumn weather, I don't know, I feel like I just get sick. But I am wearing Crescent City pajamas from Livco. I also got an Akatar set, which I'm a little bit obsessed with. But I've got like another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of reading to do of this book, and I really want to go and like read in bed, but I know as soon as I go and read in bed, we'll finish that book and not pick something else up. So I'm going to sit here, finish this book, and then I will start a new book and read that in bed, because I actually will do that. But I know if I take this book to bed, it's the only book I'm going to read in bed, and then I'll go to sleep. But I fell down a little bit of a TikTok rabbit hole just watching like cat's eye TikToks. That's the only thing that I've like watched on Netflix in the last like 3 months or so. And I watched it all this week. I binged it in like 2-3 days. And me and my sister, it's all we're like texting each other about, just sending each other TikToks. I have to say though, we're like more than 50% of the way through this book. And like one of the main characters from the last book, they've just like completely almost written out. In this, it literally just felt like 80 pages in, oh yeah, bye. It's completely shifted the dynamics and stuff. Like if this was gonna happen how it was happening in book 2, they should have made it more of a thing in book 1. Like they should have foreshadowed it better or built up tension around it, or, you know, led to it. Book 1, we have like this whole plot going, and then book 2, it's like, yeah, we're just gonna change it. Though when I read a line that says, he takes another sip of his wine, eyeing me over the rim of his glass, I have the faintest inkling that he likes having me here. I'm a bit like, you know what, forget about it. Like, we'll continue on with this plot line. I'm blushing. So I read that in 3 hours. I can't do this math. Wait, give me a minute. Okay, so I read this book in 3 hours, 2 minutes, and 40 seconds. That took me way too long to try and work out. What was that, mate? This definitely felt more like a romantasy. I feel like in the first book we had like a whole cast of characters, a lot of action, like back and forth to different locations of the world with a small romance. And then this book felt like full romance. Slow burn was the plot, enemies to lovers, with like the subplot taking a backseat and nowhere near as many of the main characters. But you know what? I didn't actually mind. Like, I think I actually prefer this character dynamic and like romance story over book one, but like I would have liked a middle ground between the two. And we've moved to the bed for what is probably going to be the last book of this day, and it is around like 450 pages. So I'm gonna give myself 5 hours to read this. The first book is the dual point of view between like our two main characters, but it's about main female character Tessa, who was sort of working as part of this rebellion, but like not actively. She was just trying to do what she can to help people in this world get access to like the medicine and tools that they need. It was like a Robin Hood type of story, but she was working outside of the crown. The rules basically made anyone who wasn't in the king's immediate circle or like really rich, basically they're just sort of left to die. She hates the king and the prince and ended up having to work with them, make an unlikely alliance with them to try and prevent this two extreme sides of this really unfair way this kingdom works, but also this like really extreme rebellion. I really loved the first half of book one, and then the second half sort of lost me a little bit, and I don't know what it was. Like, I just like wasn't as obsessed with it. So it was a really good read for me, but it's not like my favorite. But everyone says book 2 and 3 are better, but it's categorized as fantasy, but I wouldn't say book 1 was fantasy at all. It was literally just like a Robin Hood retelling. There was no like fantasy magic or fantasy world setting. Cooper, do you mind? We're gonna start reading it and just get started. So my headphones are on charge because they actually died, but we are continuing this 24 hours today. I'm going to try and get as much as I possibly can, but I do think it's probably going to cross over into a little bit of tomorrow. I'm just really not well, guys. Like, this cold or flu or whatever is developing is just like not great. So I've had to postpone my Monday plans anyways because I can't leave the house like this. I'll get other people sick. But I'm having to like take cold and flu tablets and continuously steam so I can breathe. Not ideal, but also like perfect environment, like what you want for reading a book. Like, you just want to sit and read. So yeah, I'm having to take my cold and flu tablets as well just to help with like the sinus headache. Not that you care about this information or that you need it. It's just me like info dumping on you right now. But we're gonna continue with Defend the Dawn. I didn't get too far into it yesterday. I was hoping to get like halfway through, and I was just like, I need sleep right now. My body is telling me I need sleep. But we managed to get through like 3 books yesterday, so I'm not too fussed. But I'm just gonna sit here and read this in one sitting. I'm gonna go see if my headphones have finished charging. And I've made myself a blueberry matcha, and it's really good, but like I'm already missing the strawberry cold foam like normal matcha I make. Cooper's brought a toy for us to play with her with, haven't you? I have hyperfixation drinks where I'll just crave the same thing and want to get that over and over and over until I'm sick of it. But this is nice. I don't know what it is today, but I am just like dragging to read. Like I'm reading a page and then I'm like, I have not read anything on that page. I just zoned out, so I'm having to go back and reread. I think it's my ADHD. So that's great. That's not ideal. Something's just happened in this book that I'm like, yeah, this is the direction I thought it was gonna go in, and I'm really happy with the plot line that's happening literally on this page. Very excited about that, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Oh, never mind. Did not think that was gonna immediately happen after I literally just said that. Oh goodness me. This book though is just like lack of communication, going over the same issues that we had in book 1 but like intensified, and it's really frustrating but very realistic. Like, I understand, like if this was actually happening in real life, this is how I would react. Like I get it, but at the same time, like, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready for some development past this point. It's dragging a little bit. We are in major plot development territory. I don't know what has happened the last like 100 pages, but my brain has just been like, whoa, like a lot has happened. I knew something was gonna happen because they've been talking about it the entire time, but I didn't know what was gonna happen, and now that it's happened, I'm like, oh, well, I didn't think it was gonna be that. But I have like 50 pages left. Oh, not long to go, so let's finish this. Damn. The last 80 pages in this go crazy. They go wild. That took 4 hours, 43 minutes, and 12 seconds to read this book. That's actually not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Because it did take me a while. I think Cooper is hungry now and she wants to be fed, so I'll feed her and take her outside, and then we'll start another book. This is gonna end up being like 24 hours split between 2.5 days, but I don't know what I want to pick up next. So we'll figure that out. We'll take a little break now and then see what we feel like when we come back. But I'm thinking 3.75 for this book, which is what I rated the first book. Like, I really enjoy them. They're not my like favorite, but I really enjoyed them and I would recommend them as a fun story. But like, I wish I was a bit more obsessed. Like, I wish there was something else tying me in, but like the ending went really hard. The third book is going to be the final book and it's bigger. I feel like we're going to have a lot more action and stuff in that, so that could potentially be like my favorite one. Everyone says the last book is great, but this was good, and I feel very accomplished by like taking books off like my want to read list in this 24-hour challenge. Like, we're getting through some good books. Hey, we're back. This video is just me getting progressively more sick. So I've come to bed to read because I need to lie down. I was gonna read Foxglove, but I wasn't really feeling like a gothic fantasy. I feel like I need something fae and romantasy. So we are reading The Stars Are Dying. And honestly, the font is really small, but it's like 400 pages. But I'm feeling like a fae fantasy, so that's what we're gonna read now. This is my ARC copy, and it's signed. Oh, I'm very excited. I'm ready to jump straight into this. Here we go. I actually really like this font size. It feels very good. I like a small font, not where it's like gonna give me a headache, but I like it. It's giving size 2 on the Kindle, which is what I like to read. I'm also going into this completely blind. Like, I don't know anything about this book. Vampires? I should have known that the downfall of this challenge for me would be saying that I'm going to finish it in 2 days, because it's day 3. It's a bank holiday. We have a long weekend. This morning I did do a little bit of work, but I'm basically taking a half day because I am still sick. I'm so sick. Every day in this vlog is just me getting progressively more sick, but it's only like a flu or something, so I'll be fine. But you know, you can hear me speak. It's not ideal. So I'm lucky that I don't have a lot on this week, so I can just like work from home and recover. Over 60% of the way through The Stars Are Dying. I actually switched to Kindle last night, and I'm gonna keep reading on Kindle just because I can't be bothered switching back to a book. My brain fog today with my ADHD is just struggling. So brown noise will be getting put on immediately with my noise cancelling headphones, and we will be finishing this book. But I can't tell you anything about what is happening plot wise. Like, there's a lot of things happening, but right now my brain is struggling to connect like the overall narrative. Like, I don't really see where this is going. I don't really know what's happening in the book. I'm just here for the ride. I have had to reread a few chapters and pages and jump back and forth, so it's taking me a little longer to get into. I'm loving the overall vibe of the story. Like, it is giving The Serpent and the Wings of Night, like The Crown of Nyaxia with the vampires. It's giving a little bit of Blood and Ash with like the descriptive writing and the vampires. It's giving that like fae vampire story. There are fae in here, there are vampires. It is night, not even day, but like starlight and darkness, and there are trials in this. Feels like there's a lot of elements of other books and like components I'm familiar with, but right now I just don't know how they're all going to come together and connect. It feels like we're just following this character rather than like a story happening, if that makes sense. And some of the writing has been like a little bit choppy for me, that I'm just like, hang on a second, like we've just time jumped. A lot of this I'm also struggling to tell the difference between what is a dream or what our main female character is seeing in her head that like no one else can see versus what is actually reality. I don't know, it's very confusing. Premise of the plot I'm really enjoying, and I like the vibe, but it's more just like the structure of it that's like throwing me off a bit. I feel like I'm like, oh, how did we get there? Were we not just in this place before? And then I'm having to like figure out my bearings, but that could also just be my brain fog, because I did forget my phone password this morning. I put it in 6 times, like really sure that was my password. I've never changed my password in like 10 years. Yeah, I thought I had a completely different combination for my password. So I feel like a big part of that is a me thing. But like the main female and main character I really do like. The trials have thrown me off though, because I feel like we could have had a story with trials or a story with everything else that's happening, but like to combine them two together, it's a lot, and I don't fully understand the point at this moment. It's giving me Blood and Ash vibes of like, we have so many questions and we really don't know what is going on following our main female character, and we're learning as she does. One thing I will say is like, check trigger warnings. It's not as bad as like other ones I've seen, but it does deal a lot with emotional abuse, as well as like a little bit of physical, but like mainly heavily, like our main female character is dealing with the fact that she was basically emotionally abused. She also has amnesia. She doesn't remember a huge part of her life, and this whole story is her trying to figure out who she is and navigate these situations while trying to escape abuse. Living in a world where vampires are out trying to kill humans, and there's different type of vampires. We probably have enough time to like finish this book, maybe read an entire whole other book, and then maybe read a little bit of another book. But like, I think we'll finish this and then read another one. Okay, I was wrong. We have enough time to read 2 more books. How long did this one take me to read? You think I'd do the math before I press record, but no. 5 hours, 13 minutes, and 33 seconds. The Kindle book was like 400 pages, and the physical book is also 400 pages. 414, but it's so small, the writing. Like, do you see how many words and how fine and tight they are on this page? I don't know, very, very, very many words. What I mean is that the writing was a bit intense. It felt overly descriptive at times, but also quite choppy. It's the only way I can explain it. Just like the first line in the page, I had to reread like 3 times, because I was like, I didn't think I'd be so reluctant to greet death as the man I watched die. Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. I didn't think I'd be so reluctant to greet death as the man I watched die. No like punctuation or anything. A few things like that I was like reading and I was like, hang on a second. I know this is an uncorrected proof copy, so it could just be this. I'm not sure if that was in the Kindle, but the Kindle book also had a few lines like that where I was like, that doesn't make sense, let me go back and reread it. And then there was plot points or things that happened in this book where I felt like we're building up to like a major revelation and there wasn't one. So then all of a sudden all these characters know what's happening, and you as the reader are like, oh, I expected this, so like I didn't see it coming. And then I was like, wait, did I miss the big reveal? Let me go back a few chapters. Like, have I just like completely missed something that happened? And it didn't. There wasn't really a clear sense of direction of where it was going to go right until the very end. So the whole time I was reading, I was like, okay, this is cool, but like, what are we doing? What are we going to read now? We're going to read Foxglove. So we are starting book 6 now. So let's go and read this. And this is 454 pages. Just over 8 hours left, so I think we'll be able to get this done and then start another book. We are back in the bedroom. Whenever I'm sick, I literally just go back and forth from the couch to my bed, because that's where I'm comfiest, but Cammy's watching something next door and it's distracting. We're gonna start with Foxglove, and I actually just want to draw. Like, I just want to sit and illustrate. I'm feeling inspired and I want to do some like fantasy character artwork. We've got 8 hours left of this 24 hours to do. Audiobooks really slow it down. Like, I could read 2 books if I just sat and read them in this 8-hour period, but what's the point? We're already on book 6. I usually read 6 books in this. I'm gonna finish it, so why don't I read some of it in audiobook? Audiobook is a lot slower for me, if you're wondering why. Like, my natural speed is a lot faster, so I'm like, I could read 7 books in this video, but I actually want to really enjoy this book and I feel like drawing, so I'm gonna pop the audiobook on and then do some fantasy character illustrations on my iPad. We love having hobbies and being creative, so that's what I feel like doing. I feel like sitting and drawing. Okay, so we are around 50% of the way through now. We've got just under 6 hours to go, so I'm definitely going to finish this probably in the next 2 hours, and then I think we'll be able to read like an entire other book, which I was not expecting. I only read the first 7 chapters of this, listening to the audiobook, and then I switched to physical reading. I'm blowing through this quite easily. The story's not what I thought it was going to be. I mean, like, I knew we got more of a focus on other characters, but I thought we'd have more of a focus on other characters. Like, I thought it'd be similar to maybe like the Caraval series, where, you know, one book focuses on one sister, the second sort of follows the other, and then the third they bring together. But this is a lot more more tied together than I thought. I'm very much enjoying the addition of fate. I think it is interesting. The developments and like where the plot's gone feels very like thought out. This book does sort of have like an element of a love triangle in it, and I just don't really believe in it, and I don't think we're supposed to, but I feel like the love story could have been interesting if it was focusing on the other characters rather than like trying to bring in maybe some type of love triangle. But it is giving me those like gothic fantasy romantasy vibes. I'm really enjoying it. I think I still, at this point, I think I preferred book 1, but I am enjoying this and I do want to keep reading and see what happens, so let's finish the second half of the book. Hours, 52 minutes and 33 seconds. Done. That's not actually that bad for 450 pages. And the first 7 chapters were an audiobook. I really want to read Wisteria now. Like, that's going to be a fun one. The storyline has progressed. I see where it was going. I did have a feeling that that could potentially be what happened, but again, like book 1, the actual murder mystery plot that happens, I'm never accurate with who exactly or the specifics of it, but the rest of it I am. I think I'm gonna go 3.75 for this. And I don't know what to read for the last 3 hours. We're not gonna start the Fairy Loot book that I've got because I have to start a Kindle book for that, so I think I'm just gonna like pause that for another day. And I might actually start A City of Flames because it's on my TBR for the month. Yeah, we'll start that. So, timer went off. We read for those last 3 and a bit hours. We got 70% of the way through the book. I'm honestly feeling like I need to save my thoughts until I fully finished the book. I just sat and binged it on Kindle. It was actually quite easy to read, but I feel like if I was going to talk about the book now, I feel like so much is about to happen and like plot twists are about to come, so it could change. My thoughts will be in my wrap up, but we have read almost 7 books in this 24-hour readathon this time, so we read a fair amount of books. I'm definitely going to do another one of these again soon because I missed it, but hopefully when I'm feeling a little bit better so my brain fog is not all over the place. This was probably one of the most challenging 24-hour readathons I've had to do, just for the fact that my brain is just like mush right now with this flu. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Let me know in the comments what book you want me to read in my next 24-hour readathon, and if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. I love having you here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.